Go.
Good evening, everybody. That was a little weak. Good evening, everybody. I know we got the jazz band up here, but I need a little more excitement. So we're going to get started a little early. I'm going to try my best not to ramble between every song and talk as little as possible. You've seen in the program, we've got 10 songs to go through, a couple transitions. I've got some awards and some fun things that are going out to the kids tonight. So we're going to try our best not to make this a 2-hour concert. It was 2 or 3 years ago we did something this big. It was a 2-hour plus concert, and that's not fun for anybody, including me, because I have to wear the suit the whole time. So we're going to get started. This is our jazz band. We don't really have an official jazz band at Greene Central. It's not a class, it's not a club or anything like that. But I do think it's something that's really fun for the kids to get to experience. They get to play some instruments they're not doing as often, such as some of my clarinet players will play some saxophones, some of my percussionists get to play some piano, some keyboards, some drum set, a little bit more varied instrumentation, a little bit, as you've probably seen in the program, varied genres of music we can approach that way as well. So we're going to start with a standard. You might not know it by the title, but I promise you've heard it in at least a dozen movies at some point. This is Green Onions. So the next two we're going to do, you're going to see a little something called improvisation from some of our students. It's not something that quite everyone's comfortable with, but basically what we are asking the students is to take a few small parameters and come up with something enjoyable and pleasant to the ears by themselves every time. This could use melodies, different rhythmic lines, other songs, parts of the melody from the song we're playing, just anything to create some sort of melody that's not the actual melody for the song. And it's what you would call a solo for the most part. If you're going to take a solo at Chameleon, would you raise your hand? Yeah, so we've got a few kids that can do that. This is also so that I know when to cut off from the song and when to go back to the beginning. So I'm going to play this one as well, but this is Chameleon. It's a standard song by Herbie Hancock, and it is probably one of the most popular and overplayed jazz songs, and that's why we're doing it. Also because I just enjoy it, and I think it's fun. You're going to see some funny things in this, but you're also, I'd say don't stare at them too hard because it's going to make them nervous, but maybe lightly glance at an angle at some of these kids, because you're going to see some ears turn into their heads that you might not have seen before, because some of them are doing a really good job, a way better job than I could probably do, and that's been really surprising the past few weeks as we've been rehearsing this song and letting them really get into it. So this is Chameleon. in the audience because there's a few students up here that don't go to Greene Central High School. And so I want to just acknowledge those kids. They're some of our special guests. First off, I want to acknowledge some of our 8th graders. We've got Timothy Young in the back. You haven't seen him play yet, but you're going to see him later. On trombone, we've got Mariah Turner. And trumpet in the back is Brandon Vanderford. These kids have participated with us in show band and some of them in marching band this past year. I would definitely say out of our 8th grade class, they are some of the most dedicated and talented musicians. They really work hard, and they've kept up with all of this very difficult music for the entire concert. So that's one of the reasons why I invited them. 2 other people I'd like to acknowledge, they were with our Greene County show band. They asked if they could play on the concert, so they came to our rehearsal last Friday and this week. They are Greene early college students, and so that is Judith and Kalia. They'll stand up. And 2 more. We've got one. He's the real imposter here. His name is Sidney Johnson on the trombone. I've met Sidney. I've known him for like 3 years now. 2 years now. Yeah, it's been 3 years. He doesn't remember. He is actually a Northland North student, but I've met him as part of our all-county band, honors band that we do every spring, and he's going to say he realized it's crazy. But he's a really fabulous musician and composer and arranger to a degree as well. Yeah, he likes that. Okay. Some of my students really enjoy playing with him, so I invited Noah who would need an extra trombone for the jazz stuff. I really wanted to invite him out here. And he's all for it, some solos. So big round of applause for him for coming out. And then lastly, the old guy behind me is, his name is Ethan Connolly. He is a 2023 alumni of Greene Central High School, and he can play pretty much anything out here. So when I told him I needed somebody to jump on bass, he was all for it, and so here he is playing for us tonight. So if you grab the program, you already know what the next song is. If you don't, you will soon. So I'm just going to let that one speak for itself. This is a song that I've been asked every year for 6 years to do with the students. I have always said no, and they didn't believe me this year when I said I'd pass it out. They were like, really? This isn't a joke? We're actually doing this? So this is going to be a fun one. All right, so we've got one more jazz tune. It's a standard by Duke Ellington entitled Sea Jam Blues. It's meant to be a song that you could walk into any jazz club in the 40s, 50s, and beyond, and everyone would know because the main melody is two notes. Conveniently, for our arrangement, neither of those notes are C. We do F and B flat because that's kind of the key of the band world, and that's kind of how everyone plays it. They either do it in B flat or F. Not many people actually do C Jam Blues in C. But the C Jam Blues, it's very standard one. You're going to hear a lot more improvisation from the kids. And then we're going to have a short little passing out of some awards and transition to concert. 7? Oh gosh, we got to keep moving. Okay, so I'm going to blaze through some of these awards. Some of these are things chosen, all of these awards that I'm about to give out, these are sort of some achievement awards, some superlatives, all of them voted on by the members of the band, choosing their peers for who they believe deserve them. These are year-long awards, regardless of if they're in marching band, concert band, jazz band, field band. Just know I did not choose all of these. So I don't even understand some of these awards I'm giving out. I know they're appropriate. I did question that, but so I'm gonna, right before we transition up there, I'm gonna go ahead and give them out so they don't have to run up and down. But I'm gonna try my best to blaze through these as well. And when you get it, if you would quickly come grab said award and then return to the seat. I'll let you know if you need to stay up here. You might get like 3 in a row. All right, we're gonna start with the more serious ones. So we do 2 awards for each class. We do most improved, which is the student that has, of course, made the most improvement. It doesn't mean they were the worst at the beginning. It doesn't mean they're not the best now. It's just really they've grown so much in their musicianship and dedication to the band program this year. And we give that for each grade level. We also give most outstanding, which is just the student that has really shined the brightest this year, the one that's gone above and beyond in every aspect. So for the freshman class this year, the most improved freshman goes to Logan Herrera. And the most outstanding freshman goes to Kane Herrera. The most improved sophomore, we have Meredith Stepp. And it's also tied with Lily Levy. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think Lily was supposed to get most outstanding, and these things got graded wrong. And I don't know who could have done that, but it was probably not me. No. He's not here tonight, but I do want to start on him. Michael Jarman's getting most improved junior. This student has never been in band. He unfortunately could not be here tonight. He's never been in a band class. He's barely been in music classes at all since he was about a 5th grader. He went to MPA with us and was part of that superior performance this year. He went from not reading music, never playing anything, drums, percussion, instrument in general, to performing that entire concert with us and being really one of our most outstanding percussionists on that. So he's not here, but I'd still love to give Michael Jarman most improved round of applause. And most outstanding junior is Logan Larson. Most improved senior, which, I mean, what else do they have to learn at this point? But is Karen Castrione. And most outstanding senior goes to Haley Kelsey. And this one, I've already gotten a bunch of questions earlier today about this one. So this is overall for the entire band program and all of our programs. This is the 2025 GC Band MVP, who's really been the most valuable player amongst all ensembles. Everything this year goes to Jordan Ramsey. And this is the only one they didn't get to vote for, and they're about to freak out, and they better not go too crazy. But the 2025 section of the year of the entire band program is the Low Rise. Alright, and now these are the funny ones that get shows, and I'm going to really blaze through these ones. The Tardy Award for this year, of course, whether it's to practice or to class, which is crazy because the campus isn't that large. But the Tardy Award, a tie, no surprise, goes to Mason Ware and Abraham Arquette. That's a sign. My band was flooded twice recently. I'm not looking for that today. The last to be picked up award is also a tie. Voted out of, I think, about 40 votes. They got about 35 of them. This is Jasmine and Jasmine. The loudest in the band goes to Logan Herrera. And we're not saying that that's going to be how we talk to the players. But, the needs to play louder award, and I do not agree with this, and I don't know who voted for her, but the needs to play louder award goes to Big Zell. The most likely to forget their instrument goes to Luis Romero. And we need to be careful. He's not even here. Man, that's sad. But he's here with the spirit. Most likely to get struck by lightning goes to Devin Davis. The most likely to forget to put up their instrument goes to Meredith Stepp. The most likely to yell at their section during practice goes to Jamie Morales. The most likely to drop an instrument, whether it's hers or not, goes to Duridia. There's been 7 instruments this year. The crash out of the board goes to Logan Herrera. For the Mr. Clean Award goes to Luis Herrera and Jesse Brock. The Best Friend Award goes to Haley Kinsler. This is another tie. I have strong feelings on this. The Last Nerve Award goes to Mason and Ethan. I hope he's not upset about this next one. The Over Explainer Award goes to Calvin Crozier. The most likely to lose this award within 30 seconds of receiving an award goes to Adrian Woods. The Squad Goals Award goes to Savannah and Abraham. The Snacking Award goes to the entire drum line. The most likely to leave hazardous waste in Mr. Howell's Fridge Award goes to Haley and Kyle. The most likely to cheat at Uno Award goes to Savannah Suggs. And unfortunately, I don't have a projector to show you the video, but we had 3 really good falls this year. And I say this like, I mean everything from accidentally destroying a tuba to breaking bones. Like, I mean, we had some very big falls this year. And these students voted. Unfortunately, he's not here again tonight. The Fall of the Year award goes to Devin Davis versus a really big box. And lastly, this is a mouthful, so bear with me. The Luis Romero Award for being the most Luis Romero goes to Alexander Martinez. And he really deserves it. I also don't know who put that in there. It was too good to do that. So we're going to do a quick transition onto the stage. We got some other songs for you. We will not go on for like a 15-minute chameleon like we did before. But they're going to quickly transition on the stage, and we're going to move on with the rest of the program. So bear with us for hopefully 2 or 3 minutes as they quickly start to go.
The next piece we're going to play is a really fun song called Jungle Dance. The composer of this says it's not about any particular jungle. It's just he thinks about being in a jungle and celebrating of all of life and nature and everything around him. So this is by Brian Bollinger. This is Jungle Dance. Full Praise by Richard Smallwood. This is an arrangement that we started playing last spring, and we continued with it just because, for one, I think I personally really enjoy the song. For two, it's a song that really requires the kids to listen. It's one of the only chorale-like songs we play where the entire band plays almost the entire time. So they really have to think and listen to who's the most important part at all times, really struggle to balance, really to work towards proper intonation throughout the song. So it requires a lot more out of them than some of our other songs that you would consider to be much more difficult. So I think they're ready. This is Total Praise. So quickly, before I get to the senior recognitions, as they are the old guard passing, I want to acknowledge, and these kids have absolutely no idea, they don't know this is happening, they're not ready to be acknowledged, and these positions have not been made to them yet, so this is a surprise for them. But could I ask, over here to my right, could I get Samantha Miranda, Savannah Suggs, Logan Larson, Lily Leggett, I'm forgetting one person, and Adrian Woods to come stand over here to my right. I guess we'll just go in order. I should make Logan release the response. It's more dramatic that way. Introducing from, I guess it's your left to right, our brass captain for this fall in the marching band is Savannah Suggs. Our percussion captain is Samantha Miranda. Our band captain, and you've already seen him with the Mason doing a little bit of dancing, but he's going to continue with that. Our band captain for the fall is going to be Adrian Woods. Our woodwind captain is going to be Logan Larson. And taking up the podium for 2025 for the first time, our drum major is going to be Lily Lane. And I'm going to quickly turn and give side eyes to the whole band. We need more than 5 people to run a marching band. So I kind of am looking at them, and I'm going to say some things that if they wish to be leaders in this band, if they think there's other positions available for them, if they want to be in charge of making decisions, if they want to be a help to build the program and continue that growth, be a leader when you show up to interest camp. Before I put you in that position, make it look like you already are in that position. Because I think there's other people on stage that could stand up here. But I'm not quite certain. Sorry, I got a little drunk right there. But either way, one more round of applause for our leadership in the fall. All right, so I'm now going to ask all my seniors to come up. No, they're going to go to the right too. I think there's more of them on this side. I just would like to acknowledge them real quick. I'm going to just have them stand up, but then I'm going to go through their names because I don't want to forget anybody and they stay sitting. So, seniors. Sorry, Louise. So just a brief description. I've had to say this on a lot of interviews this past fall, this past spring. If you didn't know, we went viral. So one thing that I've tried to say in as many interviews, and unfortunately it gets cut a lot, is that the past 4 years have been a really big building, a growing process. That was something I said in the video that I was not trying to dramatize. It's something I truly meant. These are the students that have been there from that point. Two of these students started with me as 8th graders when we were meeting after school wearing band masks and covers on the ends of their instruments. And there were 12 kids in that classroom. And that was all we could get from the entire middle school and the entire high school to come to anything band related was 12 kids. That next fall, it was maybe 20 kids. That next spring, it was maybe 30, and it's grown and grown from then to where if you combine all of the ensembles that participate in high school, we're probably talking closer to 90 kids at this point. And I'm not sure if our marching band is going to hit triple digits this fall. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but I'm going to say it's darn close, which is a really good thing. And I think these kids really deserve the most credit for that. Because these are the kids that have stuck with it for this entire time. These are the kids that go to the middle school and tutor. These are the kids that go out and do performances at all the other schools. These kids do over 60 performances a school year with me. And a lot of them have their own performances they do outside of that. That's not including their church. A lot of them go to college clinics and lessons and all sorts of other things. You're really looking at a group of kids where they're performing individually almost 100 times a year, which is once every 3 days just about. And that's a lot. I would call that a professional musician. And so I really think they deserve the acknowledgement. I also want to just give them as much recognition as I can for myself, because I probably complain more than I don't even know what the other word is, that's how much I complain. But they really deserve all the credit for what everyone else you see on this stage is here because of these kids. It's also great because some of these kids, these were the kids that I was going and tutoring when I first started in 2019 at Greene Central. So just to see them get to this point it's a phenomenal achievement. What they've accomplished not only as individuals, but to build their program and to work inside their community, not to mention everything else they do on top of that, because these are some of the hardest working kids at the whole school. So I just think they deserve, I want to say their names as well. Luis Herrera, Luis Romero. He's leaving us a little early, but Calvin Crozier. One of our former drum majors now, Haley Kinsler. Our other former drum major, Karen Castrione. The person that hears me yelling over her head at the rest of the band all day, Ariana Artis. And the drummer in the back, the MVP of 2025, Jordan Ramsey. Alright, so I'm going to get them to sit down. Now I've got 4 awards I've got to go through real quick before we finish the program. So the first 2 awards I'm going to give out are both the Director's Award for Band. I give these out annually to students that I think who really are always looking to help build this program. Some of the hardest working kids in the program, whether it's tutoring another student, whether it's staying to help clean the band room, whether it's to fuss at people when I can't say these things to some of the children, but they can say it for me. These are the kids that get the job done. And that's one of the reasons why they get the Director's Award, because it's almost like they're little co-directors sometimes to me. Both of these kids are absolutely just deserving this award. And I hate that I don't give out more awards, because I think every student on the stage could be deserving of getting one of these, but unfortunately I can only give out 2 for each one. So the Director's Award for Band for 2025 is Luis Herrera and Haley Kinsler. Does anybody want a picture of them? Anybody? Yeah, y'all should like stand together somewhere. Don't fall. So the last 2 awards I'm going to give out are both the John Philip Sousa Award for Band. This is traditionally at every high school the highest honor of achievement for the band program. These are students that excel musically, excel in leadership, excel academically in their classes. Kids that you could say are the top in band at just about everything they do. These would be the kids that do everything. These are the kids that when they get home they talk about band and you go, do I have to hear about it again? These are the kids that you probably got home way later than they were supposed to, because they stayed after to either help me or help other students or just anything they needed, or anything I needed, anything this program needed. And this is for all my seniors. I'm really going to miss them, but these are 2 kids that I'm really going to miss on top of that. But I believe they really and truly deserve these awards. So the John Philip Sousa Award for Band this year goes to Karen Castrione and Calvin Crozier. Because I'm always going to forget, just my end of concert things, even though we got 3 songs left. But my end of concert things that I just want to say is I want to thank you all for coming out. These kids truly deserve all the recognition. They work so much harder than you guys even know. They have to put up with me, they have to put up with each other, and they all come together for the common good of the band program. I want to thank, if you're a Greene County staff member, could you please stand up? I'll put you on the spot, sorry. Yeah, can we give a round of applause for these people? I won't go into individual names, but for those of you that came, I just want to let you know it's tremendously important to these students that you come. you guys are the ones that they talk about for the days after these concerts. Because we don't get a lot of staff members out of these concerts. So when they see you here, it really means a lot to them, and it really shows them that you care not only about their grade in your class or just in their regular academic classes, but you care about what they do in band as well. Especially since they spend so many hours with it. It really shows to them, and so thank you for coming. Thank you for everyone else that has helped us this year, whether you have sponsored in some way, whether that's donating a meal for the kids, whether that's been financially contributing towards the band, whether that's just coming to the performances, whether you're a parent that's just picking up your kid on time. I really and truly thank you, because all of that goes into making sure this band program can run smoothly, and it also makes sure that I can get home to my wife and my daughter Ella, which I'd also like to thank for putting up with how many hours I spend in Greene County and not in my house, even though they're not here tonight because her bedtime is 8 o'clock sharp, and I could not promise she would get home by that time. So, but she's probably on the live stream. Not that the 8-month-old or 8-month-old probably understands. Anyway, I'm rambling. We're gonna go on. What's the next piece? Well, okay. Hey, so we're gonna do this really cool song called Waltz Number 2. It's not got a fancy name. It's by a guy you've never heard of, probably, called Dmitri Shostakovich. Raise your hand if you know Dmitri. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Oh, some people know Dmitri Shostakovich? That is awesome, actually. I've never had anyone raise their hand for that. Okay, but I promise you will know this song. This song is going to feature 2 soloists. It's going to be Kane Herrera on saxophone at the beginning. About midway through, you're going to hear Savannah Suggs on saxophone. You don't know waltz, but I promise you know waltz. Sorry, she plays trombone. So the next song we're going to do is a traditional hymnal called Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. This is actually one of my personal arrangements. The band recently played it at the funeral of Mr. Edward Morgan, who was the first band director at Greene County Middle School. We learned it for that performance, and it's just been something that I decided to stick with so we can keep working on it. I mean, I wrote it, so I think it's pretty good, but hopefully you guys think as well. I think the kids really can show off a lot of musicality in this song as well. It asks a lot of them than some of our other songs. I've said that a few times tonight, but this, I pick a lot of music because it asks things of the students that traditional music would not. So this is Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. So what you just heard is a small excerpt from our last piece called Encanto by Robert W. Smith. What you just heard the kids is, I'm pretty confident that they performed almost 100% correctly as to what's on the page. I know we're at the end of the concert, so bear with me for a second. But I would say they performed as close to 100% as to what it says on that page as possible. They are a star student. They're an A-plus student. They are got 4.0 GPA. They're going to college. They're getting a big money scholarship. Right? I mean, would you be happy if your kid got an A in class? I'm not getting any response. Would y'all be happy if they came home with a report card with A's? Yeah, okay, good. Okay, especially. So, what if I said they got a 90? It's still an A, right? Still an A. It's an A. Maybe not a 4.0, but it's still an A. They've still got really good chances at college, some scholarships. You're not going to ground them for getting a 90. Like, they're getting a 90, they're getting an A, you're going to be pretty happy with it. What I'd like to show you is that 90 is never good enough in music. It's not good enough in music in general. What I'm going to ask my kids to play real quick is that exact same little excerpt. And I'm going to ask each kid to miss one thing. It can be a pitch, it can be a rhythm, a dynamic, intonation. They can miss their entrance, they can miss the cutoff, they can miss the balance, the blend. Any of these multitude of tasks that we ask them every time they play. I'm going to ask each kid to make one mistake. But it's still an A. We're still happy. They're going to get an A on the report card. They're going to go to the honors trip. They're going to get to go have the water balloon fight. They're going to have a great time. They're going to get candy bars. It's going to be great. So this is one mistake, 90%. Raise your hand if you want to hear 80%. Yeah, does anybody want to hear 90% again? So, and I just use this because I really want to show off those of you that are parents here, family members, staff members, and I really want to show more to the parents because I know you guys, you're driving, burning so much gas, getting these kids to and from practice. But I just want you to know that when these kids are working, we are asking so much more of them. I demand so much more of them being in the band. Being responsible for the great sounds that we can put out as an ensemble requires not only near perfection of absolutely everything on the page, it requires so much critical thinking beyond that. It requires them to watch, to listen, to me, to the people around them, to the people in the audience sometimes. I mean, I'm sure you saw some kids down here when they were doing their solo. If you guys gave them a nod and oh yeah, I like that. They got a little more into it. It requires so much more emotional and creativity on top of that as well. And that's something that I think a lot of people don't realize so much is that these kids are working overtime. They're working so much harder to produce these great sounds. So we're going to play that excerpt this time, and we're going to try to give you more than 100%. We're going to play all the right notes for you, but we're going to show you what happens when the kids interpret it as music, when they interpret it as an art form. So we're going to play that little excerpt for you, and then we're going to go all the way through this song. So you get to see the multitude of styles they have to do just in this one song. But this is the same thing the right way. I promise this is my last thing for the evening. After we do this piece, do know we have to get all of these instruments back to the high school. I would like to personally, and I'll shout him out as well, Patrick Ware has got his trailer parked here, and he's going to help us transport a lot of our larger equipment, and he does that for us all year, all marching band season, weekend after weekend, 16-hour days. So we can give him a real quick round of applause for how much he does for us. So this is our last song of the evening. It's called Encanto. It's by Robert W. Smith. He passed away about 2 years ago. He's a very well-known band composer. Everything from the very beginnings of 6th grade band up until collegiate and professional works. He's done it all, and I think he writes really good music for these students all around our country and really around the world. So this is our last piece of the evening. If you wouldn't mind, once we finish, grabbing your chair and taking it to the rack, if possible. If you are able to grab two, help a partner. That'll help us get set up and cleaned up real quick, and then we can all get home. Thank you all for coming. Sorry for my lecture. Sorry for my awards that these kids chose to give out. But we do really appreciate you all coming out, and thank you again.